Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of KSP Resurgence. Today we're going to a very hot planet called Dasar, filled with lava oceans. So I'll be taking Tenacity, my fusion-powered interplanetary vehicle, over there. I designed this lander off camera, but I'm pretty proud of how it looks. So Dasar is the closest planet to Harmonia, the Celestial Harmony planet pack, and it's actually pretty hard to get to considering how close it is. But whenever you try to go there, you'll actually end up there really quickly. Same how similar to Moho in the stock system. However, it's a lot closer, so it'll be a lot harder, and your vehicles will be more susceptible to explode. Now, speaking of which, I have a confession to make. I did have to tick on the ignore max temperature cheat on this on the way there, and I kept it on for the duration of the mission. For some reason, my crafts tend to explode during time warp, even if it doesn't explode in time. I'm out of time warp. Not to mention, it does get really hot when actually on the way to Dasar, but when actually around an orbit, it doesn't explode for some reason. I'm considering this as a bug, and I'm just gonna use a cheat. Sorry, folks. Anyway, despite being so close to the star, it's actually pretty hard to get a maneuver, just because it's super small. It only has 0.2 Gs of gravity. Usually you'll probably be able to have a maneuver pretty easily because it keeps making orbits around the star so quickly, so it's not hard to get a transfer window at all. By the way, I never do transfer windows. I just get my vehicle on an interplanetary trajectory, and I think I just place down a maneuver node until it works. Now you may notice the burn's very expensive. Well, this is because any burn super close to a star is expensive. Anybody who's been to Moho would know this. And also, the capture burns are like 10 times worse. Don't even get me started. I did have to do a little weird trick just because the burn time was too long, so we end up having to start burning before entering the sphere of influence, which is not ideal at all. Like, the Kerbal physics do not like that, so I had to do some weird finagling with burning, changing maneuvers just to be able to get a good orbit in the end. Anyway, here we are on our way to Dasar. You can see how fast it was orbiting. Like, it was orbiting like every few days, actually. Every day or something. And as you can see, our radiators are already starting to get the heat warning bars on. Usually this isn't too big of a problem since, like, the radiators are meant to be hot parts. And then my lander can't explode because for some reason it only has a heat tolerance of 500 Kelvin, which is really bad. So that's why I did enable the ignore max temperature. So, I mean, it was fine when I tested it around Dasar, but that was only around Dasar, not around the actual star itself. I wonder how dangerous it would be if we actually had like mods that added like radiation and stuff, just because we're getting super close to the star, and I'm actually seeing some coronal ejections, which is pretty cool. If you're close enough, you'll find them. Anyway, this is the part I told you about where I had to do some finagling with a burn. And as you can see, if I didn't have that cheat on, the lander would explode. See, the bar is completely full if I have no max temperature on. So I have to start burning before I actually make it to the encounter, just because I'm going so fast and days are so small. I could have done like a more direct maneuver, but like I didn't want to do that because for one, I would have ended up there pretty quickly if I didn't, and also it would probably cost an absurd amount of delta V. And this whole issue with going too fast for such a small body to get into an orbit, it was gonna be 10 times worse if I just did a really fast transfer. So I felt like it'd be easier if I just did it the old-fashioned way. I did have to do a whole lot of messing around with the maneuver tool, but eventually I just decided to burn retrograde. As you can see, that is a very expensive capture burn I had to do. So, thankfully this interplanetary vehicle comes with an absurd amount of delta V, so I can do this mission like 100 times and still have fuel left over. I should also mention that this engine is from Far Future Technologies. It's a Discovery spherical tokamak fusion engine. It has two modes, a low thrust and a high thrust one. Just as you expect, it increases thrust at the cost of ISP or efficiency. I did decide to use it a little bit during this mission just because I felt like I did need the extra thrust to weight ratio. Because this thing has abysmal TWR. It just accelerates so slowly. But in terms of like really efficient vehicles, that's not really a problem. And get some really weird, trippy views of Harmonia, a parent star, as we pass through Dasar's shadow. Now, I was kind of worried I'd just shoot right by, but thankfully I did end up in an orbit, although not a very circular or straight one. Oh well, I don't really care. An orbit's an orbit. Now, you may also notice that the heat bars have also disappeared. I'm not sure if this is intentional, like Dasar has some weird thing that protects you from solar heat, or if it's just a bug. It's probably the latter. Now, once you get into an orbit, you're going to have to be able to start collecting science. Just because in Kerbal space program, science is like, you can get science from space high, space low, and landing in all sorts of different biomes. So I didn't really have a service bay on this lander. Instead, I just kind of put the experiments on the side. I really like how it came out with universal storage experiments, just kind of flush with the gold foil polygon. Now this lander is very special because it uses a very exotic fuel mixture I've never used in the safe before. In fact, I actually don't think I've used it in a playthrough before. It uses diborane and liquid fluorine, which are the two best fuels I currently have unlocked right now. Both of which are extremely toxic, extremely reactive, and are probably the best fuels to be putting in a crewed vehicle. But it's Kerbal Space Program. These little green guys don't care if the fuel's going to give them cancer, because there's no cancer in the Kerbal universe. Or is there? Possible carcinogenic effects aside, this lander actually packs quite a ton of Delta V. So I guess having toxic fuels on your rocket pays. So diborane with chemical technologies actually acts as an exotic replacement for methane. So any engine that can use methane and oxygen can also use diborane. And liquid oxygen is fluorine's non-exotic counterpart. So any engine that burns oxygen can burn fluorine too. Which is really cool. There's also like a fluorine equivalent, hypergolic equivalent. I forgot the name, it's a really long one. But it's kind of like the exotic hypergolic oxidizer that you unlock, but I only unlocked that for quite a while actually. I mean, it is a very next node, but like for some reason, well, probably due to a lack of fuel nodes in the science tech tree, it's in the same node as like some of the late game antimatter tanks, so I guess I won't be getting that until I have like some really endgame interstellar vehicles. Or unless I just bite the bullet and like just buy against Sing League. And just like that, we've landed on Dasar. We actually get some blue crystals. It's probably not ice or whatever melted. It's probably some exotic mixture of minerals. Wonder what they're made of. They're not that big, that's for sure. Of course, you gotta do the obligatory frozen banana experiment. I'm not really sure what determines what experiment is done on EVA. Like sometimes it's the golf experiment, sometimes it's the frozen banana one. It's kind of hard to I don't know how it's determined. Anyway, we have to do all the science experiments, and of course fight the gravity while at it. The gravity is actually high enough that Kerbals actually walk instead of like jumping around, which is pretty cool. Also, this lander can does have a habit of knocking Kerbals unconscious when they try to go EVA. So it kind of was a small issue, but thankfully I was able to get around it. Anyway, we have to plant the flag, and then we had to do a screenshot. Except I forgot to do the screenshot because I don't know what was going on. I was like all tired. And then we have to experience the second issue of this lander can. For some reason, whenever I try to touch the gate, the Kerbals keep going ragdoll. So eventually I figured out that you're just supposed to go on the ladder, climb all the way up, and stop, and eventually it lets you board. I only brought 4 Kerbals on this trip, because I usually put way more Kerbals in like heavier landers. But this command pod can only hold 4 Kerbals, sorry. It does look pretty cool. It's from Artemis Construction Kit. I'm gonna do a biome hop, but like I'm not gonna go too close to the lava lakes just because I feel like I'm already on the shores biome. It was like the scorching shores or something, or hot shores. But I wanted to go on another biome. I think it's like the basalt biome or something. I forget. I just want to do biome hopping to get as much science as I possibly can, just so I can go home and get all the parks I want. By the way, I'm thinking about doing a live stream just to design a space plane to do a really, really special mission in a future episode. I'll probably do it sometime over this week just because it's a fall break for me and I have all the time in the world. Anyway, we've done this is our first and only biome hop. Don't worry, we'll get a good view of the lava lakes as I'm passing over them. I'll still be close enough so you can see all the parallax goodness up close and personal. Speaking of parallax goodness, you may have noticed some floating rocks. Must be those crystals having some weird magnetic properties. Now we actually didn't scan this. I didn't actually give Dasar a surface scan because I completely forgot. But I didn't want to colonize this place anyway, because if any of my interplanetary or interstellar vehicles are going to explode on the way there, I don't want to colonize this place. It's too hot. Anyway, here are the lava lakes. You can see the glowing hot basalt and, of course, the oceans. Oh, it looks glory. You probably hold up a marshmallow right outside the command capsule and actually be able to cook it. So that's pretty cool, I guess. I didn't want to land too close, especially to like the parts that are glowing red, because I'd probably explode if I tried to. Now this kind of reminds me of another moon from Beyond Home, which is the well, Celestial Harmony is a sequel of Beyond Home. Well, it's not made by the same creator, but Beyond Home, I got a moon called Ash. It was like a it's a rather large moon. It had like lava lakes, so it's kind of similar. Definitely not as hot as Dasar though, because Dasar is facing the full wrath of the star. It was also at this point I realized how inclined my orbit was. But to be honest, I did get a good rendezvous with plenty of fuel to spare. So it didn't really matter in the end. The other thing I should mention is that I really did not need all those solar panels for this lander. I probably could have gone with like a tiny little square one and have sufficient electric charge. Because those things, which are usually like chug out like 20 electric charge a second if I recall correctly, they're like putting out like 170 when they're up this close, which is crazy. Kind of surprised I haven't like broken or melted or anything. Anyway, we have arrived back at the mothership and are preparing to dock. I didn't do a lazy method docking just because I wanted to do a pretty cool docking maneuver instead. Because I do have the manga propellant, I do have the RCS, so it'll work out. It's really cool how the antenna is able to reach. I mean, this antenna on the lander is able to communicate straight back to the KSC on most occasions. Except if you're like really far. I don't think you'll be able to communicate if I go like somewhere further out than Trom, but it should work if you're at a reasonable distance. Anyway, I do get another Kerbal flung while trying to go on EVA, but I rapidly regain control and are able to transfer all the experiments to the mothership. After I transfer the crew, I undock the lander and send it plummeting to its demise. Bye bye, Lander, you served me well. It's probably gonna land in a lava lake, so it'll have a pretty fun demise. Crashing into a lava lake at a few hundred meters per second. Anyway, we've done everything that we came for, now it's time to leave. I really like Planet Shine, because it's Planet Shine is a graphics mod that allows planets to cast light onto your ships and change their color. So if you're, like, say, orbiting a lava lake-filled planet, it'll actually give your spaceship an orange tint. You can notice that if you looked hard enough. I heard mods like deferred rendering make stuff obsolete, so maybe it's deferred rendering doing it. But I still have Planet Shine installed, if I recall correctly. Anyway, I plot a maneuver to get us back home. For some reason it was a little weird, because I kept having to pull 2 directions just to get a nice, somewhat uninclined orbit. But it's still going to be rather inclined, especially since I'm probably going to do a little different burn, just because the prediction's not actually going to be accurate. Because if you look closely, you'll actually see how expensive this burn is. It's like a few thousand meters per second. So I'm going to have to be burning for a long time, so it's not going to be the most accurate burn in the world. As you can see, as soon as I left Dasar's orbit, my spaceship started getting really, really hot. I still have that cheat enabled just in case something happened. I really didn't want to have to load a quick save. Now, I've actually landed on most of the actual planets in this solar system. There are 2 planets that I'm yet to visit, and of course they're moons. First, we got Aglarka, which is a huge Hycean planet with like a couple of moons. I want to design a space plane to land on it, but it's going to be a little difficult because Aglarka has a lot of G's, a lot of atmospheric pressure, so I gotta really engineer it perfectly. Then I got Magnifico, which is a big gas giant. I'm not going to land on it because it's a gas giant, but it has a bunch of moons. And it's there I'm hoping I'll actually find a good place for my interplanetary colony. I've been looking for this entire series. Not the entire series, but like a good portion of it. Just because next season, I'm actually going to use that colony a lot. And yes, I am actually approaching the end of this season of the series. So basically, the season 1 is going to be like everything interplanetary, and then season 2 I'm going to start going interstellar. In like season 3, I'm going to do like further interstellar destinations, and then I guess that'll be the end of the series. But that's still a long way off. I still have the most ambitious missions coming up. And of course, Olia insists that we have to do a flyby. In fact, I was actually on a collision course, as you can see right here. Thankfully, I was able to narrowly avoid a certain death, and ended up getting a pretty decent-looking Olia encounter. Well, it would have been a good cinematic, but I just time-warped all the way through, and it looked pretty terrible at the end. It's been a while since I've been to Olia, actually. Maybe I should land there or do a mission. Then again, I'd rather focus on like more high stakes missions. Maybe I'll do like SSTO to Olia eventually if I'm bored and like don't want to do anything too difficult. But anyway, I left the crew transport vehicle I used last episode in orbit just so I can rendezvous with it and be able to deliver the Kerbals back home without having to launch another rocket. It's what I did in like some of my previous playthroughs that I did before I really used to this channel. Like, I always like launched my Kerbals on a command pod. I then left it in orbit and then docked back with a mothership when I wanted to take them home. That's how it was with my JNSQ playthrough. Anyway, here's the crew transport vehicle. But doing a rendezvous is going to be a little difficult just because the built-in probe core does not have SAS. Thankfully, I can still use maneuvers, so it's not all bad. If I couldn't use maneuvers, I would have just launched another rocket and just gave up. Because without the maneuver node, I'm practically useless when it comes to rendezvous. I do have to wait in orbit for a few orbits, but make sure I have all the time in the world. This is a probe, and I don't have life support. And also, if my headcanon says Tenacity has all the supplies Kerbals need, all the snacks, all the water, and all the other stuff, so I should be good. Yeah, I do have to do a little bit of weird stuff with monopropellant, just because without SAS, it tends to want to tip over to another side when I use RCS, so I do have to compensate for that myself. It was actually kind of fun doing a docking and rendezvous without SAS. It's serves as a kind of a fun challenge for me, because as a seasoned KSP player, I've always relied on SAS to keep my ship stable. SAS does a good job most of the time, unless you're like flying a space plane and it just makes it go to the left for no reason. Anyway, after waiting 5 years for Tenacity to turn towards the transport vehicle, I initiated docking procedure. Final approach. I think I bumped it, and then I'm gonna actually dock with it after turning up the docking acquire force to 200%. Now I have to transfer all the precious science that that's why I actually bothered going on this mission. If I leave this science in orbit, it'd be pretty bad. I'll be the end of the world because I still have it still exists. I just have to send the other rocket, which I do not want to do. Anyway, got all the crew, and time to go. These Kerbals have been waiting a long time to get home, but probably not the longest time considering this is actually on the shorter side when it came to some of the missions. I mean, the Kerbals on Fortitude for their Gaia and Poe mission are still waiting in orbit. Still have a year to go before they reach home. Descent. Volumetric Clouds is a really great mod. Make sure it does eat your GPU alive, but it still is a great mod. It looks great. Also, I think I did hear that like version 1, 2, and 3 of Volumetric Clouds is now free. So that is pretty cool. It does let a lot of players be able to use their the partial power of this mod. Though like V4 and V5 are still paid. I have version 5 just because I coughed up $5. Actually, I think I paid less because I got on a discount. Anyway, deployed our drogue chutes and subsequently deploy the parachutes just now. And then we just a small coast to land. But of course I'm bored, so I have to go into IVA and look around. Fortunately, I can't use FreeIVA with this command pod just because there's no configs. But whatever, we've landed and gained a whopping 3,000 science. So I get some plasma engines, not because they will be any better than my fusion or fission engines, but because I like to use them on some space planes. Because I feel like my Stirling fuel cells will be able to be good and power them for without the need of a nuclear reactor. I also picked up aerospace composites, so I think it'll be useful for my Glurka space plane. Anyway, that will be the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Bye!